Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about astrology and the death of Sandra Birchmore. Part 2, you can call this. I did a video on this last year on 2023 about astrology and the death of Sandra Birchmore. But that one I believe was more connected with the natal chart and transits to it. This one is going to be more on her own, I should say the death chart, the death event chart, and transits that transpired at the time of the new ruling of the manner of death, which took place on or around June 24th, 2024. Some of you may know that the original ruling, I believe, was suicide, but now it's been changed to it's a homicide as a result of a strangulation. And the thing about this is it's gained some new, light and exposure now, and more people are starting, I believe, to become more, cognizant of what, really took place, what a lot of people actually suspected or initially, but now it's official now because as far as the ruling on the death. And I just wanted to offer. I know she died 3 years ago, but I still would like to offer condolences on this and prayers to the close friends and family members that have had to endure this situation, and that they get closure on this sooner than later. And wanted to say, I approximated the death, as far as the time of death. I have um, the date of death, which I believe she passed away, is February 1st, 2021, because based on video footage that has been that's online, there was something where the person that was suspect, or should at least be perceived as a suspect, Matthew Farwell, was shown him entering the apartment, complex of Sandra Birchmore's at 9:27 p.m., right? And it shows him departing the complex at 9:56 p.m. So based on that, I gave an approximate, time of death for 9:45 p.m. And I know it's very speculative, but I do believe that she was killed at that time, or around that time, I should say, in that time period frame from 9:27 to 9:56. Again, I put 9:45 p.m. as using that as an approximated time of death for Sandra. So I just so what I'm going to do again, I'm going to talk about the death event chart and transits that occurred and transpired on June 24th, 2024, because that was either the day that ruling on the death actually changed, or it was near that day. So I'm using June 24th, 2024, at least as the approximate, day of this ruling to have changed. And again, I do hope that justice will be served for, these for Sandra, and that the perpetrators are going to be apprehended and arrested, and for what they have done, and that they do have, a criminal, court case on this sooner than later, and they do, start to investigate, the nuances of this matter. So, well, first off, there's some transits that, first I'm going to talk about some placements in the actual death event chart, and then I'll get into some of the transits of it. Now, again, I have this set for February 1st, 2021, 9:45 p.m. And what's interesting is it puts the ascendant at Libra, which I find intriguing, because you're talking about somebody likely dying at this time. And but what I'm thinking of is that, okay, Libra is connected with the law and justice, and the thing about this is there is a at least one Facebook page which is about justice for Sandra Birchmore. So this could be something in which, justice may be more emphasized in this death, at least comparatively speaking to others. Justice needs to be emphasized in anybody that is murdered, any homicide, but there may have been more significance, and maybe this has something to do with the justice element being more prominent in this particular death compared to others. Now, what I want to state is, as far as the natal placements, okay, talk about, the ascendant being at Libra. The moon is also in Libra, making a conjunction to the ascendant. So this is something that could have given more, as far as, emotional and sensitivity, and, to this, there's more sympathy expressed, towards Sandra, I believe, than a lot of others, because it's become a more prominent death case, compared to others, on the, that have transpired. One of the things that stand out to me, though, is, okay, I'm looking at, the death event chart, and it puts Capricorn on the 4th house cusp. Now, Capricorn on the 4th, can indicate, the end. 4th house is the end of life. So end of life, which cause more despondency, dejection, sadness, limitation. There are 5 planets that are in that 4th house for this death event chart. One of them is in Capricorn, Pluto. The others are in Aquarius. But there are 5 planets in them, and it all, they this is where you have what I would consider, a stellium, because they all form a series of conjunctions, with each other, all these planets. So the energy is very integrated and intensified. Now, and basically, a stellium in astrology, it's very, again, it's very integrated, and it basically forms, an astrological statement. What begins with the first planet culminates and ends with the final one, and I'm going to break this down. Okay, it starts out with Pluto, right? And Pluto, of course, is connected with death and murder. Being in cold, callous, undemonstrative Capricorn, premeditative Capricorn. Then it's followed by Venus in Aquarius, which can be connected with an unusual, unorthodox relationship. Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn can indicate that this is done by an older person. Jupiter, it's followed by Jupiter connected with the law. And then after that is followed by the Sun in Aquarius. Now, the Sun in astrology has a connection with children, and Sandra's child, died. She was pregnant with a child at the time, died as a result of this. So you could see how this astrological statement, how this works, it plays out here. Now, another thing too stands out. Well, Mercury in the death event chart is in Aquarius, retrograde. So that could indicate, the delay that it took to find, to actually find Sandra deceased. Again, I do believe she died on February 1st, 2021, but I don't believe her body was discovered until like February 4th, 2021, which of course that makes that 3 days later. And the thing about this too is that, when I look at this chart as well, the death event chart. Okay, I'm looking at the 8th house cusp being in Taurus, so that could be, play a role in why, this investigation has been very methodical and plotting, delivered slower than most. The thing about this too is that in the 8th house, in the death event chart, okay, there's Uranus and Mars in it. Now, Mars is in Taurus, and she did have injuries by the neck and throat area. The fact that Uranus makes a conjunction to Mars shows how shocking and unexpected this is. And again, it does fall in the 8th house of death, in the death event chart. the ruler of the 8th house, which is Venus, falls in the 4th house, which indicates this was something that was going to cause more sensitivity, more emotion, and also the 8th house rules trauma. And the fact that the ruler of the 8th house falls in this 4th house can suggest that the trauma was going to lead to the end of life. The ruler of the 8th house is Venus, because Taurus is on the cusp of the 8th house, and its ruler, Venus, falls in the 4th house. And another thing about this as well, when I look at this Venn chart, the fact that, because Sandra died at this time, of course the child that she was carrying died as well. The ruler of the 12th house cusp, which is Mercury, falls in the 5th house. So that could suggest a loss of a child, limitation connected with a child, or a loss associated with it. Now, another thing about this chart, what I found interesting is that the majority of preponderance of planets fall on the right half of the chart. The moon in Libra is the only planet on the left side of the chart. And it shows that maybe it's an indicator that this death was going to be one in which at some point a lot of people would come together. It would have to be resolved maybe by many people, and there's less independence in connection with this. This is more about doing things with others, more so as opposed to just people wanting to work independently on it. So there are some other as far as transits that took place at this time of the passing of the new ruling on this death. I'm talking about transits relative to the death event chart of Sandra Birchmore. One thing that stands out is that transit Saturn made a close conjunction to the Neptune in Pisces in the death event chart. And one way that could manifest, that could be, that's the indicator of a person, an authority, basically, showing making that ruling on what I would call deceptive suicide. Neptune is deception, and Pisces is the sign of suicide. This was about the reality hitting us now. Saturn is connected with what reality is and authority. So this is the time when authority basically clamped down on this and made the ruling as it should have, as the way it should have been done initially. Now another thing, another transit I would say that stands out, I got looking at Mars, transit Mars, it's the Mars return, basically. So what it is, it's transit Mars in Taurus, okay, and it is the Mars return of the death event chart, because Mars is in Taurus in this death event chart, and relatively close, to the transit of Mars in Taurus at that time was relatively close to the natal Mars in Taurus. So this suggests that going back to that return of looking at analyzing the injuries connected with the neck and the throat, and making another ruling on that. And also too, the transit south node was close to the moon in Libra at the time of this new ruling. So that's could be about going, south node, okay, we're going back to something that happened in a home, and trying to get justice as a result. But the moon is connected with the home. Libra, of course, is the law, legalities, and justice. And it was also close, transit south node was close to the ascendant, the physical body as well, and going back to that. And because south node is going, it's about going back, I would say it's the past. And the thing too You also had at this time of this ruling transit Pluto in Aquarius, retrograde, was not far from the Venus in Aquarius in this in this event, the death event chart. So when you have that energy, you're talking about, more, I would say, more deep research, investigation in terms of maybe the connection, the relationship with Sandra and this person, Matthew Farwell, at this time, and looking deeper into that connection. So there's really, the main thing I still would like to get to before I close with this, that there, as far as the future goes with this case, and I'm just checking to get the dates down on this. I have everything set. Well, the one thing that I would, consider could be a very auspicious time for the future, in this investigation, that is going to be when transit Jupiter in Cancer, makes the sextile aspect to the 8th house cusp of death. 8th house cusp again is in Taurus. When transit Jupiter in Cancer will make that sextile to the 8th house cusp from June 29th, 2025 until July 12th, 2025. So that could be a very telling, significant point. Jupiter will be in caring, sympathetic, dedicated Cancer. And when it makes that sextile to the 8th house cusp, I do believe it can be a very lucky and fortuitous time for this investigation, and in terms of possibly bringing the people to justice. And it's a shame that this was not, investigated thoroughly, initially. And now, there's really, I would say, there's no choice but to go deeper into the investigation, because due to the ruling of this now being a homicide, and if something's treated as a homicide, then it's going to have to be acted upon as such, of course. Now, I got one more transit I want to get at, is that another thing too is that in the death event chart, the Black Moon Lilith was in Taurus at the time, as well. And the Black Moon Lilith has a connection with death as well. So when transit Jupiter in Cancer makes the sextile to the Black Moon Lilith in Taurus in the death event chart, that could be another period which could be very auspicious for this case, and that is going to take place from roughly July 22nd, 2025 until August 4th, 2025. So, anytime, late June into early August seems to be the more favorable time, I would think, a very favorable time for this case, and in terms of, getting that true justice for Sandra, what she has what she has deserved for some time. And it's preposterous that this has gone on for over 3 years without any closure on it. And it's about time that, some people, that not some people, that, more people become involved and try to help, bring justice for Sandra. And before I go, I want to state that, my YouTube channel likely has been shadow banned, so there's going to be limited viewership on this video because of that. But I will be trying to put it out, in some other way, some other, channel, whatever I need to do, because there's going to be, certain limitations with this. But I hope that, whoever sees this out there, I'd like to get people to share this video, put it on your your Facebook wall, what have you, tweet it, whatever you can do to actually to get this out there more to people, and let them be more aware and cognizant of what's going on, and maybe people can think of ways in which they can actually help. Sandra in her, sadly in her passing. And so anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.